There are some people who love that. But we're not going to do that. But why don't I, let's see. Why don't I read to you from one of the stories that I have coming out this year. I actually have 2 novellas coming out this year. I didn't have, obviously, time to work on much besides the Wheel of Time, but occasionally I need breathers. This is how I stay fresh. If I work on the same thing too long, I get burned out, and I don't want to be doing that. And so, occasionally on a trip or something, I will take a break and say, okay, I've got 3 days, what can I write? And I did that twice last year. Well, actually, once last year, once earlier this year. One of those stories, called Legion, is coming out from Subterranean Press. It's like a limited edition only thing. And I wrote that on the flight home from France last summer. And then another one called The Emperor's Soul is one that I wrote on the flight home from Taiwan earlier this year. And maybe I'll read that one because it's appropriate since I gave out the Taiwanese little books here. This will just give you a little glimpse of it. I don't know how this will work as a reading because I actually cut the prologue to this story. It's an interesting thing to talk about. I'll go ahead and do a little reading on this, and then I'll tell you why I cut the prologue and what's going on with this. So, Gautona ran his fingers across the thick canvas, inspecting one of the greatest works of art he had ever seen. Unfortunately, it was a lie. That woman is a danger. His voices came from behind him. What she does is an abomination. Gautona tipped the canvas toward the hearth's orange-red light, squinting. In his old age, his eyes weren't what they once had been. Such precision, he thought, inspecting the brushstrokes, feeling the layers of thick oils. They were exactly like those in the original. He would never have spotted mistakes on his own. A blossom slightly out of position, a moon that was just a sliver too low in the sky. It had taken their experts days of detailed inspection to find the errors. She is one of the best forgers alive. Sorry, I had it in the wrong view. She is one of the best forgers alive. The voices belong to Gautono's fellow arbiters, the Empire's most important bureaucrats. She has a reputation as wide as the Empire. We need to execute her as an example. No. Fraba, leader of the arbiters, had a sharp nasal voice. She is a valuable tool. This woman can save us. We must use her. Why? Gautona thought again. Why would someone capable of this artistry, this majesty, turn to forgery? Why not create original paintings? Why not be a true artist? I must understand. Yes, Fraba continued. The woman is a thief, and she practices a horrid art. But I can control her, and with her talents, we can fix this mess we've found ourselves in. The others murmured worried objections. The woman they spoke of, Wan Shelu, was more than a simple con artist. So much more. She could change the nature of reality itself. That raised another question. Why would she bother learning to paint? Wasn't ordinary art mundane compared to her mystical talents? So many questions. Gautona looked up from his seat beside the hearth. There stood the conspiratorial clump around Fraba's desk, their long, colorful robes shimmering in the firelight. I agree with Fraba, Gautona said. The others glanced at him. Their scowls indicated they cared little for what he said, but their postures told a different tale. Their respect for him was very deep, but it was remembered. Send for the forger, Gautona said, rising. I would hear what she has to say. I suspect she will be more difficult to control than Fraba claims, but we have no choice. We either use this woman's skill, or we give up control of the Empire. The murmur ceased. How many years it had been since Fraba and Gautona had agreed on anything at all, let alone something so divisive as making use of a forger? One by one, the other 3 arbiters nodded. Let it be done, Fraba said softly. Break. Shay pressed her fingernail into one of the stone blocks of her prison cell. The rock gave way slightly. She rubbed the dust between her fingers. Limestone. An odd material for use in a prison wall, but the whole wall wasn't of limestone, merely that single vein within the block. She smiled. Limestone. That little vein had been easy to miss, but if she was right about it, she had finally identified all 44 types of rock in the wall of her circular pit of a prison. Shane knelt down beside her bunk, using a fork, she had bent back all the times but one, to carve notes into the wood with one bed leg. Without her spectacles, she had to squint as she wrote. To forge something, capital F, to forge something, you had to know its past, its nature. She was almost ready. Her pleasure quickly slipped away, however, as she noticed another set of markings on the bed leg, lit by her flickering candle. Those kept track of her days of imprisonment. So little time, she thought. If her count was right, only one day remained before the date set for her public execution. Deep inside, her nerves were drawn tight as strings on an instrument. One day remained to create a soul stamp and escape. But she had no soul stone, only a crude block of wood. Her only stark carving tool was a fork. It would be incredibly difficult. That was the point. This cell was meant for one of her kind, built of stones with many different veins of rock to make them difficult to forge. They would come from different quarries, and each have unique histories. Knowing as little as she did, forging them would be nearly impossible. And even if she did transform the rock, there was probably some other failsafe to stop her. Nights what a mess she'd got herself into. Notes finished, she found herself looking at her bent fork. She began carving the wooden handle after prying off the metal portion as a crude soul stamp. You're not going to get out this way, Shay, she told herself. You need another method. She'd waited 6 days searching for another way out. Guards to exploit, someone to bribe, a hint about the nature of her cell. So far nothing had. Far above, the door to her dungeon was open. Shay leapt to her feet, tucking the fork handle into her waistband at the small of her back. Had they moved up for execution? Heavy boots sounded from the steps leading into the dungeon. She squinted at the newcomers who appeared above her cell. 4 were guards, accompanied by a man with long features and fingers. A Grand, the race who led the empire. The robe of blue and green indicated a minor functionary who had passed the test for government service, but not risen high in its ranks. She waited, tense. The Grand leaned down and looked at her through the grate. He paused for just a moment, then waved for the guards to unlock it. The arbiters wish to interrogate you, forger. I'll go ahead and stop there so we can do some more questions.